there are loads of fire engines and police cars and sirens all heading down.
And as we are looking at live pictures, our Skycam view, I assume you're seeing somewhat the same view from your windows.
Yes.
You can see it still appears to be burning pretty much out of control.
You can see the fire, and I can see the fire in the second building and the first.
And you've seen debris falling off.
Yes. Now there's a helicopter. That's fine.
Yeah.
And obviously this is a situation because of the height of the buildings. It's going to be very hard for the fire department to get up there and put these fires out.
Absolutely. Kay, we thank you very much. I assume that you were pretty shocked when you saw what happened before your very eyes.
It was horrible. It was just one of those things you see and you can't stop. It was just, I don't know. I've never seen anything like that. It was horrible.
Okay, we of course have seen something similar to this back in February of '93. That of course was when the terrorist bombing of the World Trade Center, and that was of course a major disaster and a lot of fatalities there. And this is obviously very frightening to have this happen 8 years later like this.
Well, it is, and again, they put huge security measures in play for getting into those structures. But as you pointed out earlier,
they're vulnerable from the sky.
They're vulnerable apparently from the sky.
Yeah.
Let's just tell you that we have no word at this point about injuries, fatalities, or anything like that, and we certainly would not want to speculate at this point. Emergency crews are on the scene. We will bring you what information we can get from them as soon as we get it. Now, as we said in Washington, the FBI is investigating reports of a plane hijacking before these crashes. There are two planes that apparently have been involved. We have physically witnessed one of them on our live camera. We do not know exactly what planes they were, what size they were, but our eyewitnesses have told us they appeared to be pretty good-sized airplanes.
Well, I mean, there's a little discrepancy on the first plane. Some people are saying it was a smaller craft. Some people are saying it was a larger craft, but definitely the witnesses we've talked to as far as the second explosion said that it definitely was a commercial airliner that crashed into the second tower. Again, the FBI is investigating this as foul play, which I think is pretty obvious at this point. And, you know, we'll just have to wait and see what happens here. But this is...
Okay, we've told you that the airports in the New York City metropolitan area are closed down. We have told you that the 1, 2, 3, and 9 subway lines are shut down for the moment. Let us go to Katie McGee over at Shadow Traffic, because there has to be other huge traffic impacts at this moment, Katie.
Jane, this is enormous. Right now, all your Hudson River crossings closed. No one moving in or out of town at the Lincoln, the Holland, or the GW Bridge. I'm looking at the inbound Lincoln live from my vantage point right now. They're starting to turn buses around. I've not seen anything like this before. All bridges and tunnels, you're going to find closures. No one allowed in or out of the city right now from what we're hearing. You did mention the subways. 1, 2, 3, 9, and are suspended. Newark, Kennedy, LaGuardia airports closed to all air traffic at this point.
Katie, and any of the other Skycams that we have, do you see mass traffic confusion? What do you see on some of those bridges and tunnels at this moment?
What I can tell you right now, I'm looking live at the inbound side of the GW Bridge, and what we can see are the tolls. Everyone completely stopped. There is some traffic coming outbound over the span. I can also see people from the Cross Bronx heading into there, but right now no one allowed into town at all. At the Lincoln Tunnel, it is at an absolute standstill. I can see one bus on the outbound side trying to turn around and look like he's heading back into New Jersey from what it looks like.
Okay. Thank you very much, Katie. Stay in place, please, because we will be back to you shortly.
Okay, Jane, something just crossed the wires. As a senior government official speaking on the condition of anonymity said the agency is pursuing reports that one or both of the planes were hijacked and that the crashes may have been the result of a suicide mission. The source stressed that the reports are preliminary and officials do not know the cause of the crashes. But this is a quote, "It certainly doesn't look like an accident."
Well, again, can we reiterate what we do know? Because as you can imagine, this is pretty shocking to people in the metropolitan area to just even look at these pictures. What we have been told by eyewitnesses is that they saw apparently fairly large-size aircraft going into the first of the World Trade Center towers, the one on your right as you're looking at the screen. That was at about 10 minutes to 9. Then, about 18 minutes later, there was apparently an airplane, because we could see that from our own Skycams and our Chopper 4 video, that went into the second tower, and there was a resulting explosion there.
Okay, Jane, we have another witness on the telephone. Todd Hollerman, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Where are you, and what did you see, Todd?
I'm at 330 West 42nd Street. I saw a huge plane come in from the water and crash into the side of the building.
Which water? You talking crossing the Hudson?
Right.
This would be the second explosion?
Right.
And from your vantage point, could you tell what kind of an airplane it is? There seems to be a lot of confusion about that.
It looked huge. I couldn't tell exactly what kind it was. It was just tremendous. I was just saying to my coworkers, look at the size of this thing. It looks like some kind of stealth fighter or something.
And what you saw, was it deliberately aiming for the building? It didn't appear to be a plane that was in any kind of trouble, anything like that.
Right. I mean, I thought I was watching like a movie scene. It was moving in quickly. It was moving in close, and then it was just boom.
Did you see any insignia on that airplane?
No, I didn't.
And you then saw it hit the tower.
Right.
And I'm just curious, did you at that point see any other reaction? Did you hear anything? Did you see anything when you saw that initial explosion?
No, I'm not close enough to really hear anything, I don't think, but I'm just looking out my window right now in shock, watching this thing burn.
Yeah, as we all are. As we all are. Todd, thank you very much. We appreciate it, and we appreciate your information.
Sure.
Jay, we just learned that President Bush was in a classroom in Sarasota, Florida, reading to some students. His chief of staff, Andrew Card, whispered in ears and told him what was going on, and the president will be coming up in just a couple of minutes, and he will give us his reaction to what is going on. And
again, we have not heard from emergency workers on the scene to know the extent of the damage or the injuries at this point. One would have to assume on a day like today, a normal work day in New York City, 9 o'clock in the morning, most of those offices were probably open.
Yes.
And there were certainly a lot of people in those two buildings. To our knowledge, people in the lower levels have been evacuated, but at this point we simply cannot bring you any information about what is going on.
There's
now,
one of those Hudson River crossings that Katie McGee was talking about. You see the George Washington Bridge, traffic has absolutely stopped. Traffic going into the city, you can see on the bridge, there's absolutely no cars whatsoever.
Let us just tell you that you really cannot get in or out of this city at this moment
Actually,
in
you
time.
can get on the outbound, they were letting cars come out over to New Jersey.
Right, but you cannot get into the city.
Absolutely, can't get into the city.
All the airports are shut down. The subway lines, 1, 2, 3, and 9, are shut down at the moment. We do not know when anything will get back to normal. And again, to reiterate the point about the FBI said to be investigating whether or not there was some hijacking of a couple of airplanes involved in all of this.
Also, an anonymous government official said that it would appear that this was not one but two suicide bombings, that the pilots deliberately turned the planes right into each of the towers at the World Trade Center, and obviously you can see the disastrous result right here on our screen.
Let us go to Richard Thompson on the telephone. He is a licensed pilot and he witnessed this. Sir, from taking a look at what you saw, what can you tell us as a pilot about those airplanes?
Well, I was sitting in my office on the 8th floor at 632 Broadway at approximately 9:47, and at 9:47, give or take a minute.
You mean 8:47, don't you, sir?
8:47 this morning. The plane went by probably 50 to 100 feet above the building, streaking directly towards the World Trade Center, and it was a small business jet of some type. It was going so fast, and my window view is so short, but I could hear it screaming by at basically full power, no engine problems, going straight for the building. And by the time that I could get out of my chair, open the window to see what the hell was going on, it had hit the building, and that was probably a total of 5 to 7, 8 seconds.
So that would have been the first
that was the first.
The explosions.
Exactly, and it was directly, everyone was flying the plane was directly...
Richard, stay tuned. We've got the president. We're going to go to him next, but we want to come back to you.
Okay.
Going back to Washington after my remarks, Secretary Rod Page and Lieutenant Governor will take the podium and discuss education. I do want to thank the folks here at Booker Elementary School for their hospitality. Today we've had a national tragedy. Two airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country. I have spoken to the Vice President, to the Governor of New York, to the director of the FBI